What's going on, guys? Today I'm here with another very special guest, Kosha Dillz. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. What's going on,
How you been?
man? Fresh from a workout, like I told you before we started. So, whenever I get one of those accomplished, I'm good.
Cool, cool. Well, you did just drop an album. Um,
Yeah.
let's jump into this. So I want to talk a little bit about how I met you, actually, because I
Yeah.
think that's like,
For context.
yeah. So I was at Warped Tour with Pierce Seville back in like
50.
2015, 16, 2015, 16, yeah. And I was like on my way out, and you were like straight up like hustler, like selling CDs like at the exit. And I was like, yo, that dude looks really sick. And I went up, bought a couple of your CDs, went home, listened to it, was like, this guy's definitely going somewhere. And now it's what, 2020, and I just randomly reached out to you and was like, hey man, like how you been? Hope you've been doing well. And here we are.
I love how that works.
It's a small world.
At the end of Warp Tour, when you're like at the end of the show and everyone's leaving, we call that like, that's like the free money. It's just like for everyone's like, I'm going to spend like 20 bucks. Someone like hits me up at the end and you're just like the last of the people. And I've stayed in touch with more people that I met leaving
Hmm.
than like maybe from the shows and stuff because everyone's like remember that moment when they left Warp Tour and that was
Right.
like the last moment and I was like that last person.
Because yeah, it's like the last memory that really sticks with you from that day.
Mhm.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we will get into your album, but first I kind of want to talk about like what like how did you like get into music and like who are some of your inspirations?
Um, so when I started rapping, like in my neighborhood, there was this dude Dale, like on my wrestling team, and he was really into hip hop. I mean, we lived 25 minutes from Staten Island, where we grew up in Jersey and Edison. So like I just kind of started in high school listening to Wu-Tang like on the way to school and stuff, but it was also like a mix of like Jersey club as well, and because we used to go to all the teen clubs and stuff, like that was like a thing, and we would party and go to these teen clubs, and this was like
Right.
maybe something that just existed at that time. um, and then from there, at that time, like there was a kid that was coming up from Queens every weekend, or coming down from Queens every weekend, named Yak. um, and he was like a really big battle MC. Um, and he was working for this dude Bobito from Bobito Stretch and Armstrong, at his old store called Footwork. And he was entering this thing called Bragging Rights at the New Regan Poets Cafe, and he was in the rap battle stuff. And I started like just writing for battling. And back then we weren't like trying to make songs or anything; we just were writing rhymes. So we got into this place called New Regan Poets Cafes. One day, some guy didn't show up. I got on stage and it was like similar. I just loved battle rap. I just loved going against somebody and like calling them like, berating them and making them feel like
Yeah.
shit. And like that's the whole goal, is to make them be like, listen, I had sex with your mom. I had sex with your mom's sisters and everyone, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the entire point, is to literally talk the most, trash to somebody and embarrass them. And like I wrestled, so I loved competition. I liked winning and losing. I didn't like tying.
Hmm.
So my perspective has changed out there, but I really started out as battling, and then slowly but surely, Wu Tang was like the big influence, and then like the rock for my brothers of like just working out. Like I just took my brother's tapes, like Pantera, like Metallica, Iron Maiden. I had Green Day was like my first sort of like trizzing over Smashing Pumpkins.
Hmm.
Um, and then Rancid, like Salvation. I just remember like bumping that in tape decks and stuff. And then also Biggie Smalls and Tupac too. You know
Of
what I mean? So
course.
it's like really diverse. And
That
then
is really
slowly,
cool. Yeah.
slowly, yeah. And then really got into like the underground niche New York scene, from Yak just to like, Cool Keith and just really underground Cannibal Ox from Def Jux, and LP Company Flow is like the big thing, like which is now part of Run the Jewels.
Hmm.
And that was like what it was, very East Coast stuff. I wasn't listening to anything else really.
That's awesome. That's a perfect segue. There's two collabs of yours that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, the RZA one and the Cascade one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which one would you
We'll
want to touch on
we'll
first?
go in chronological order. So
Okay.
I was we were booking tours off like MySpace. And, you know, booking off MySpace at that time, I mean, it was very like, I was like really connected to the people in the Northwest. There was this group called Blue Scholars. Oh, Macklemore was out there, Greaves. A lot of people came into like the Rhymesayers world. And I had an album with this dude, C. Ray's Walls, and I had this new album called Beverly Dills, and I was touring. And so I had like gigs in like Portland, and I looked online and I saw that RZA was coming to Portland. So I showed up at the show and asked the promoter if I could like introduce rap, like spit like a verse on stage before the opening act. And then I'm like, yo, I'm opening up for RZA. You know what I mean? Like it's technically, you know, and really like finessing it. I mean, it would be the equivalent of like a DJ like opening up for
like Skrillex or something.
Yeah, like, but it would be like you open up for Dead Mouse because you like spun one song, like literally you've been press play and then that was it. And then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, all you did was just do that one thing. So I went backstage and I was like, yo, let me rap for you. And it was like Old Dirty Bastard Son and this dude Skane. Skane is really the reason why Skane is like RZA's like, you know, growing up homie from like they were 12. And he was DJing and he was from Staten Island, this dude Johnny Lugo. And he's like, yo, let him. I was like, yo, man, I'll come and open on the other shows. You know what I'm saying? And I had a flight back the next day because like my tour had ended. And they're like, yo, whatever. Like if he does good, he does good. If not, like whatever. Like, you know, they'll just boo him.
Yeah, yeah.
And like that's the thing. Like Wu-Tang is like they don't really give a fuck. Like, and what I learned is that like you're not gonna get paid or anything, but like you can show up and like Wu-Tang will go on 45 minutes late. So there's like all this. If you look at it on a struck production level, that's how I kind of create a relationship. I was like, yeah, there's always gonna be an extra 10 minutes at a Wu-Tang show for the entire history of humanity, and I just built that relationship. Kept showing up, just seeing where he was at, and I was in London, got like rejected from coming in because I didn't have a work visa, and I like got deported back to like Germany where I was out like on a summer tour. This was like in 2010, and I had already built some good rapport with RZA. I like sneak into Rock the Bells, which is, I don't know if you don't know Rock the Bells. Rock the Bells is basically like Rolling Loud is what Rock the Bells used to be. It was like you know, everyone's playing Wiz Khalifa, Tyga, all the, I mean, but all the original OGs of rap too. So it was more focused on that. Like Cypress Hill would play Rock the Bells.
Okay,
So
that's sick.
I managed to get in. Somehow RZA was there, like, you know, backstage, and he's like, yo, come through to the studio. So I was like, all right, I thought I'd just hang out, you know, but I was like ready. And so I brought my, you know, MacBook. And then mind you, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I was supposed to be in London because I got rejected. It was the first time in 30 years that this festival ever had to like get somewhere, because it was like a conference. It wasn't even like a music festival.
Right.
So there were so many stars that aligned. And then I went there, and then Cool G Rap came over at like 3 a.m. And I literally like just got in a booth, man, and just, you know, there's no video cams. I didn't want to be that guy either at that, because it was such a crazy moment. Just like write the best rap I could. And I like wrote, I was like, you're going to kick me out. You know what I mean? I'm like not supposed to be here. This is so crazy. This shit's happening. And I got that verse off with Cool G Rap and RZA made the beat like right there. And had a song with RZA. And then when the shit came out, people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How the fuck did you do that? And there were like 12 things that happened for that to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like going here, going to Europe, going to Germany, flying from Germany. If I flew in from another country, maybe I would have got in, getting rejected, got kicked out, got deported, went to my parents' house, like snuck into the festival, then snuck backstage.
You know, so like what had happened if you hadn't made it in? Or
what happened if I didn't get in? Yeah, what happens if I couldn't get backstage? What happened? You know what I mean? That would have never happened. And you know, and then who knows what happens in the studio? Could have been like, oh, he's in the studio. How many times have you been in the studio and something didn't happen? Majority.
A lot. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, that's how that happened. The Kaskade, totally different story. Also around that same time, like I was touring in the Northwest and connected with a band in Park City called Eyes Lips. No, they were called the Elizabethan Report. Um, just like a really funky rock band, and I would rap with them. We would do some shows here and there. Like I was open for them, and it was cool because it was a mixed genre. Um, my boy Aaron and Spencer were part of the group, and then the group is now part of the group is now Sego, Sego, really dope group. And besides doing as an indie band, they're also doing other shit. And there was a connection to Utah, to Provo, to Salt Lake City, to Park City. And these guys were like always great to me. I recorded an album there, like I slept on their floor for like 3 weeks when they were like out of town. You know what I mean? Like they were like, wow, they lived in this really sick warehouse and they're just really good with recording. And he's like, yo, could you make me some rap? Sure, come over to make these raps. And thinking like, oh, I'm working with some sick producer rapping over this certain thing, and think nothing of it. And I guess the whole time we were working with like the whole Kaskade team. So that one day, I mean, I did never thinking about it. In fact, even the month earlier, I had gone to a Kaskade show because I opened for Wiz Khalifa in January. And I'm like, oh, and I'll go to the Kaskade show at the same venue because I got like VIP access. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got the email, I was thinking like, yo, like, did they sample my voice like at the show? I was just at this dude's show. This is weird. And I was like leaving before the pandemic. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna roll this thing out. This could be a big thing. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, this is bullshit. And they're like, no, you worked with them, And the guy's like, yeah, you guys worked on a song together. And I'm like, who? And so to me, I was just, rapping because of my friends wanted me to rap for them. But I didn't realize that these were just people that they have been working with. And Sego has tracks with them too. And to me, it was just like showing up for my friends and didn't think nothing of it. And it was just like another
That's fucking nuts, man. That's so sick.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to say that, Kaskade called me up personally to make like this song and shit like that, but like, I would have been like, whoa, but like, I think this story's cooler because it was about showing up for my friend who fucking always showed up for me. If he was like, could you rap for my little cousin's birthday or some shit? I'd be like, I'll be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was what happened. And then I was like, I did do that. I do this kind of, So it's funny, some of the stuff you do today is going to be out in 2021, 2022. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Yeah. Is this your first like breach? This is your first breach into like the dance music audience, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a sick remix with Modest Yahoo with this dude Marky Styles that I haven't dropped from like an old song, but I just sent some stuff to this guy Damon Hess, like just like people like house guys and shit. And but the thing is, I grew up going to house stuff like from Jersey, like Jersey Shore stuff, like really house music, club music. I grew up going to Sound Factory in New York, and I've been to the Limelight, and these are like places like. If you look at like the movie Party Monster, this is kind of like the stuff that was like when I was 19, 20, 21. I was doing more club stuff than rap stuff.
Right.
And I was on drugs and stuff like that. But now I've grown into collaborating with other people and rapping. Like I played at Electric Forest, for instance, which is like a huge.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but it was like through another person. And then, they have acoustic music there, and they have, like kind of hippie style, because with Modest Yahoo, that's a whole nother scene. So I feel like it's not like Kaskade, which is like more sexy. Ironically, the name of the song we did is sexy, but like their stuff is more grungy and just darker. Yeah. So I did some stuff with like Thriftworks and rocked over some Thriftwork stuff. Like, so there's like a lot of people, electronic stuff is a really cool thing. And I'm excited to get into it because it's just, I feel like electronic scene works so hard. It's very like the punk rock of like different punk rock, like the very like, fans are into it, and people are down to share it, and it's shareable music in so many different scenes. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, you mean you're gonna take my song and make it your song and get it twice the amount of plays? Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm in it. I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a no-brainer to me. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Someone can hear me, and you're like, it's kind of like you're like, listen, I know you have this chicken and you barbecue it, but like, can you let me grill it and fry it, and we can get it to all these people who like the chicken this way?
Yeah.
And like,
That's a perfect metaphor. Yeah.
so like, you know, I'm just like, wow, that makes perfect sense, you know? So
So no,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
literally no brainer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it's enjoyable. Plus, like, if it makes people dance, like, I'm down. So when I play Coachella with my boys, Subsuelo crew, I mean, they like to play a lot of Latin. They play a lot of, you know, um, Mombaton, Umbaton, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Moombahton, yeah.
Yeah. And like me rapping on that is just, okay, this works. Sure. Could you remix your stuff over this live? So that's what I kind of learned from like touring with Modest Yahoo and stuff, is that like just rap, you know, get up there, rap with whoever's there, jam with whoever. It's music. People want to dance. Cool. Let's do it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important to be able to like tap into more than one market. Like look at somebody like Diplo who has literally tapped into. He just came out with like an ambient album. I mean, he's done country, he's done like house, he's done like the pop stuff. He's literally tried like tapped into almost everything, and I think
Yeah.
that that's insanely cool, and that's why he's so successful.
Because
But
everyone respects him, you know, from all
exactly.
the different scenes. You know what I mean? So it's cool. So I'm like, what do you guys want me to do next? You know,
Yeah.
country, whatever. Let's go.
Country, yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the album a little bit now. How, when did you start writing it? How has this whole process gone for you, especially with like, has like COVID affected it at all? Or
100%. I did it starting in. We started raising money for the record in 2018, and we did it Warp Tour, raising like 20 grand for the album. But we also was like an album and a tour. So originally it was gonna be like a little project, and I raised money for like Humble Man was like the first one with Fat Tony, and like we had that ready. We had a couple other songs ready, but Humble Man was the one we were playing on tour for a while. So I was on Warp Tour, and like the money we raised went to like merch and like to tour bus and stuff like that. So really, it was kind of like in and out just to even like do it. Um, the we raised a lot, and then what happened was we started recording more, did another tour right after that tour, the Nobody Cares Except You tour, and just really started like developing like the statement as a brand. um like then I connected with Sam Barsh to record even more and more stuff, and I realized it was like I was getting like I wasn't releasing songs, like I was releasing like 5 songs one year, 6 songs. So I'm like, shit's so trash, dude. I need to release way more. And we recorded probably up to like 18 songs, and they were supposed to come out in April. And I had a tour with Red Gold Green and Little Stranger. We had, you know, sideshows booked at Coachella. We had, you know, the Ace Hotel. Like, it was really nice. You know what I mean? It was some big venues. We had a festival with like Action Bronson and Method Man, Redman, Denver,
sick.
Cervantes, like big spots, you know? So, and I was like in Israel getting ready. This is before I even knew about the Cascade thing. So it's coming, it's coming. And then we're like, oh man, it's like not like, this is like the world's about to end, you know? So I had it from April, and then we're just like, all right, it's not happening in April. And now we're like switching to, what are we switching to? We're switching to something totally different. So I was like, I want to get this out before the election. I want to kind of put this bad boy out on so many different levels. And how can I put it out and have an impact so nobody cares except you? We brought it down to 14 songs. And I'm like, you know what? I got radio. This is like, we're going to make somewhat of an impact here. And it's been so long since I released a record. I haven't released a record since like 2016. The 2016 record I really recorded in like 2014, 2015. So
Right.
it's weird. It's like I had to sacrifice this record, and even just sending it to like my contacts that respect me, and just, you know, like every producer on this record. Sad Pony has a #1 with Tekashi and Nicki Minaj. Cool Kojak, Spider-Man soundtrack, Kanye. I mean, you know, Lizzo. It was produced for everybody. Like, it's just legend. I met him through Modest Yahoo, and then, you know, Sam Barsh, like tons of #1 songs. Kendrick, ASAP, Logic, Aloe Black, and he's the homie. Like, known him for so long, and he's just records, 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 records. And no, I have a stacked record. So it's been like so long, but it's ill because like other projects I've done are just coming out as well. This coming up, and I think this year I'm gonna release like, you know, multiple projects, 25 songs, 35 songs. I just want like, I just got my own Spotify. This is Kosha Dillz thing today. I was like, yeah, that's
That's
sick.
sick. Yeah.
That's fucking sick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? They did it. So
Hmm.
I'm super excited how it went down. And like, the last song we did was right before COVID. So with Gangsta Boo. And I'm like, okay, I got that. And now we have to push it, you know? And I'm still creating while I'm doing, and I'm, you know, doing stupid TikToks and shit too. So it's like, I got to do all of it to just gain attention to give people the album.
Yeah. That was gonna be my next question. Like, how are you pushing it? I know last night you did a gala, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like doing anything to create some sort of engagement with anybody.
Like this
Like,
podcast. Yeah.
yeah, like, yo, I just want people to know who I am. Like, so many people don't know who I am. And to be honest, it's a different game than it was. Like, when I last my album, I charted on Billboard. I sold records on Toro Modest Yahoo in 311. So I like set it up where I had a release party on the East Coast, and we did a bunch of East Coast shows. We had 6 shows. We had a bunch of pre-sales from a Kickstarter. We sold it online for the minimum price, like to like, you know, hand in sound scans. We're selling like 120 records a night. We're selling a T-shirt with bundles, and it's difficult to chart. And
Yeah.
this, like, I don't want people to just, I don't want to just sell. I could sell anything. You know what I mean? I sell socks. I want to sell. I want people to listen to my work. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to like feel what the fuck's happening in my life. Boom. And let it resonate with them. And I want people to quote my songs in like their tweets. Like, that's, it's a different sort of impact. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
It
I
is
don't need.
really cool to see how like musicians and honestly like any creatives right now are kind of handling and adapting to like I guess this like new norm of like like online festivals. Like my buddy and I in the duo, we played an online festival, and it was just like it was cool. I mean, it was just so cool because like I never thought I'd be doing something like that. Like we made a set, we played it on in Minecraft, and it
Really?
was yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you play the Minecraft festival? Like that one?
We played one of them. Yeah, it was honestly just really cool, and like we got like a really cool turnout, and we tapped into like kind of like a new market, honestly, and
Yeah.
a lot of these DJs and stuff when this thing first was like really shut down, they were like trending on Twitter. So like people that weren't really into this stuff before were they're like, oh, like what do I watch now? And they're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this live stream. And Brownies and Lemonade and all the Space Yacht guys, they're all like throwing like online
Yeah.
shows and stuff, and it's their audience
I
like
love
boom.
Space Yacht. I actually recorded a song with Rami because my name's Rami, so that's how we connected. And
Did
I
you
know,
really?
yeah, we did. I don't, nothing ever came of it. I mean, I would love to, but I mean, obviously Space Yacht is great. I mean, it's like a legendary thing, you know. And
Yeah, he's a cool ass guy.
I haven't really retouched, but like the Cascade thing really introduced me to all those people. I mean, like they played it at EDC online, they played it at his thing, the Grand Canyon, they played it at, you know,
Hmm.
so much, dude. And like, if that song was out, like, and there were festivals, oh my God,
Oh
dude.
yeah, it'd be
Just, I know it
everywhere.
has like 1.5 million now, but for me, that's like mind boggling. And I was on the cover of like EDM.com, Dancing Astronaut. So for me, it's just like, wow, what a great, I feel like that was like a gift, man, of like so many like empty shows and hard work, you know? And it's,
Yeah, did it feel like kind of like surreal? Like it was hard to like believe that it actually happened.
yeah, because like, you know, when you do things and you just do stuff and you just do stuff, like no one ever gets those things accomplished by not going to the studio. And I think it's like the point of collaboration, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, let's collaborate, like one song, let's two, or, you know, somebody just released a song I did in 2006 on 2020. He emailed me and I'm just like, bro, I sound like I was literally coming out of prison. I was still like on probation. And at that time, I was just like, yo, yo, yo. I was just like, and I was like, there was like a dope song. I'm like, I'm just like, whatever, dude. It's like out there, people see my name, and I'm not against people hearing my earlier stuff. You know what I mean?
But it's changed a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not like mad. Like, yo, that's who I was in 2006. Like, I want to know what you were like in 2002. Like, don't be embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed of it. You know what I mean? So, because
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a long time. So, people contact me and say, hey, I need to hear that song you did, Roller Coaster Baby. And I recorded that in 2007. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, that's your best song ever. It was like, you just don't know what's going to be your big thing. But I love
Right.
it when people are like, I love your song, Sexy. It's so amazing. And I say 8 words in this song. Like, what's amazing about that? You know what I mean? I want, but the reality is, I'm like grateful. At least you know who I am, and it's exciting for you. It's exciting for me too. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
to get for other people to call me and say, how the fuck did that happen? Because you can't, like, no one could afford a Cascade beat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no one's like, oh, I don't want to, you know what I mean? It's like, that's
Yeah.
2 different worlds.
It's
Like,
genuine. Yeah.
rap world is like, yo, how much for this? How much for that? And other stuff, you know. So it's enabled me to just hit people up and show people, like, yo, I did this with Modest Yahoo. I did this with RZA. I did this with Cascade. I did this with this. Everyone's like, wow, it's pretty, like, all over the map. Like,
Hmm.
what do you, so for me as a human and a songwriter, I'm like, wow, like, it's really cool, you know? And other people want to remix my stuff. I think it's great, dude.
Yeah. I honestly can't wait to start our remix for
Yeah,
you. I
dude.
think it's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah. I want to be in Minecraft. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Dude,
that's
it's
good.
just like it's so cool. Like, who would have thought like people would be playing like a virtual festival in a video game? Like,
Not,
exactly. It's and I feel like this
not
is really cool to be a part of something like that. Like, because you'll be able to tell your kids that in the future and like look back
yeah.
on this shit and be like what happened. I mean,
Yeah. It's
so
crazy.
you're still obviously like making more music and creating and stuff now, right? Like during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just got a budget today for like a holiday song music video. Like, it's gonna be sick, dude. Um, it's like for a child book. It's not like an adult children book called Schmuck the Buck. With a black Santa and a Jewish elf and reindeer, like, or a Jewish reindeer, black Santa. It's just really like all. It's like basically the opposite of everything what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
And I'm like, well, that'd be such a fun music video to make, you know. And I got, but I'm like really excited for that. I did something today. I did like a kid's song with like pizza hands. I'm like, wait, who are these lyrics? I'm like, I wrote this song for this guy,
hmm,
and they're like doing it for National Pizza Day, and I'm like, that's just something that might happen. That might just pop off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
that
know.
is really cool. I mean, like you were saying earlier, like you've like been able to do all these really cool like things everywhere. Like, I mean, something for Pizza Day, like a,
Yeah.
a kid's book. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's stuff like that I think is really cool.
Well, it's like you can't be a one trick. I can't be a one trick pony because I'm not as popular as, like, if I was like making like, yo, every time I touch a mic it's like $5,000 or something. I'd be like,
Yeah,
different story. You know what I mean? But it's not the story. But I also am into it. Like, I want to do children's stuff. I want to do EDM stuff. I see my friends who do these splice packs and these EDM songs and it's like playing these kind of, cool things. And everyone's like, you should rap over the sexy song. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I should continuously. My best friend, he's just like, bro, you should have been dropping like 10 other EDM songs because Cascade's like, what a great entry point into the world. Um, so, I'm excited for this year because this year I think I'm just going to drop all kinds of stuff.
could you see like a remix to Sexy happening where you actually like rap over it?
Oh yeah. I've rapped on it live at certain other
Oh
events.
wow.
Also, Mr. Tate did a remix, which is super filthy. It didn't pop off as much as the original one, but he's super dope, and he's also a Utah boy. Um, if you know Mr. Tate music, and like, yeah, I mean, I could see myself rapping over a lot of stuff, a lot of other stuff that people are sending and putting out, and yeah, man, I'm just like, I just need to be forced. Like, put me in a studio and put all the tracks there. I was banging 10 of them out in a day. A lot of my stuff that I've been really successful with is like one take stuff, freestyle stuff, and that's sort of my style of things that have really gotten me the furthest, I think, in my career.
Of all of your music, what record is your absolute favorite or has like the most like sentimental value to you? I know it's a hard question.
I'm really feeling the new record. I got to go back to the new Nobody Cares Except You. I really like the hooks that I'm writing. Um, the song Real Me is like a real life story of mine. Um, but this song Never Ever Have I, which is on the new record. And there's a song called Age, which is about dating younger people. Um, that for me, like the way I do the song, um, I'm really feeling myself on it. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, this is dope. There's a lot of songs. That's that's it. But like my favorite song, probably like the original, is the one that kind of put me on a map called Cellular Phone, and that one is like I had a Super Bowl commercial, which also happened in Utah, and that was like me freestyling a little bit, and it was a Bud Light commercial. It was the number one commercial rated in America on USA Today. It was like mind-boggling that it happened.
Hmm.
If you think having a song with Kaskade is crazy, it's like imagine seeing your song on the Super Bowl in a tie game. There's like 100 million people in America watching the game.
Yeah.
And your song comes on, and I wish Shazam was like popping back then,
Hmm.
but it wasn't. So it's just like everyone knows it's you, but they don't know it's you because it doesn't say Kosha Dillz. They just hear the song. Like, oh, I know that song.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see the Kaskade song with my name next to Kaskade. And that's like the name recognition is important.
Right. No, I yeah, 100% agree. I kind of want to take it in a little bit of a different direction right now. So like as you've been making music during like COVID times, has like I mean personally like my mental health has been a little on the low side as far as like creative goes and like I've been hitting more blocks, but at the same time I've been feeling more inspired and go through these periods where I have a ton of motivation because I have all this time and then I'm like I have too much time and I don't know what to do with it and I get overwhelmed. Have you like experienced anything like that as far as like creating and making new music goes? I mean, has COVID affected it at all or?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, too much idle time is like the devil's playground. I think that's like the expression.
Yeah.
Like, you have so much time. So what do? You just go on your phone more, You're like, I could have been in the studio. Like, you think about these things. Um, like I was in LA, now I'm in New York, but I was in LA and I got these beats from this dude Uniwa, and I'm like, yo, I gotta bang this album. Like I should have been banging this album out for this guy, and I haven't. And then I like went into the studio, and I was just listening to today, and I'm like, yes. I remember I was rapping on this, and I'm like, yo, I need to like record in this room. And since I've been in New York, I've been more productive. But a lot of times, what I'm a good starter, bad finisher. Like as far as I know myself that this is my MO. My MO is that I get really excited, da 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 da, and then you go with the idea. But the best way you stick with something is you have to stick with it. It gets boring, No one wants to
Yeah.
record. No one wants to record the fifth song. They want to be at the ninth song next before the 10th.
Right.
And the first one, second one, you might get two, but then that, you're like, these aren't the best ones, but you never really, really know. That's why collaborating and getting some other people in there is like, it's great, right? Because I'm making the songs and you're helping me make the song.
Right. And sometimes
You
a
don't have
fresh set of
to do it.
eyes kind of helps. Yeah.
Yeah, you play with it. Somebody else gets into it. They're like, "This is sick. I love this. This is a great. I want to kill this." And that's why big people do stuff with smaller people, and smaller people do stuff with big people. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is
Yeah. It's a
so. I
symbiotic relationship. It
I
helps.
don't have to do it by myself. Is basically how I approach music. You know, I don't have to
Yeah.
like worry if you don't want to promote the song. Like you hire somebody, publish like all those things. But it isn't. I got. I love recording in the day, but then I got into like, you know what? Let me record at night. Let me write at night. Let me do something creative. Let me make a TikTok. Now I'm making like TikTok remixes to I just had my first TikTok shit go. Like this guy that I rapped over his beatbox like was in the BBMAs, and I just made a thing, and it got like 23,000 views, and I met all these new followers, and I was like, bro, I just.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
But so now I'm chasing it. Now the next one goes down, you get 300 views. You're like, what?
Yeah.
But it's part of the game, you know what I mean? It's gotta make
Just trying
more.
to figure it out. Yeah.
Or it's you definitely won't figure it out if you don't do anything.
Yeah. 100%.
So it doesn't
Um,
perfect.
yeah. So I actually have a couple fun questions. What's the weirdest message or like thing like a fan's done for you?
Um, the weirdest.
Or
I feel like,
coolest?
yeah. I feel, man. I'm just like thinking of all these moments. Um, like I feel like somebody baked, baked me a cake, but like made me latkes or something like that, like potato pancakes, and like brought it to a show. Maybe the guy was really cool, Jewish guy. You know, I get a lot of like interesting people. Like, yeah, I like my interests are with like the cool scene, but my fans don't reflect that sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, my strongest fans, like, but you know, like my big supporters are like, you know, that it's a different world, you know. So I thought to myself, wow, like this guy made me potato pancakes, and like I
And
was
brought
like,
him to the
wow,
show. Yeah.
yeah, brought him to the show. And dude, I mean, that's like nothing. I know people that have like the, you know, people bringing the craziest stuff. I'm really grateful if someone cooked for me in
Yeah.
Vegas. Well, that's one thing. I don't, I'll, I'd have to come back on other stuff.
Yeah. I have one more question. I don't know if you have any of these stories, but what's the worst date you've ever been on?
The worst date, oh,
Worst date you've ever been on?
I I don't know if it was a worst date, but I'll tell you about this one girl that I dated, and it was like in Hunter. It was like in New Jersey and Hunterdon. Maybe it was Hunterdon County, something. We went to a Thai restaurant, and I like we were just what was it wasn't vibing or anything, but like the restaurant was like maybe they were like screaming at the waiter staff. So anytime you drink the water, like they would never let it go down all the way. So you're like, for instance, you're like sipping and you're like, I know, you're like, and
Immediately.
it just, yeah. And I just kept remembering that that's what, like, what happened, you know? Luckily, I don't really try to go on dates that are going to be whack, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I try to have like a little bit of a buffer, but,
Yeah.
but I do remember that date because we didn't go on another date after that. And I just remembered, I couldn't. I kept trying to like beat them, so it became like this game of me like,
You're like, can I finish this before they fucking refill it? Yeah.
yeah, after the date came for me. The other person, you know, sometimes people go on dates, you know, for many different reasons, but at that point, the date shifted for me trying to beat the person with the water, you know.
Well, were you able to do it?
Um, no, it was impossible. They continuously filled it up, continuously. So,
Damn.
yeah,
Some
man.
good service right there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Let's plug your album and your socials.
Yeah. Nobody
Anything.
cares except you is just, you know, it's the album. Um, it's a social message. I wanted people to care about me when I dropped one song and to really get to know who I am as a human, gotta kind of listen to an album. And that's like sort of a biographical level of acceptance in my life. And it has a lot of cool stuff. Has trap elements, old school hip hop, jazz elements, you know, party vibe elements, Jewish elements. And yeah, man, it's out everywhere. Nobody cares except you.com. And everything else is just Kosha Dillz, KOSHADILLZ, blah, 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 blah. I'm on the
So it's
internet.
on Apple Music, Spotify, all that, SoundCloud.
Everything, Bandcamp, SoundCloud. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, hit the SoundCloud with
Cool.
the follow. I'm trying to be more engaged in SoundCloud, trying to vibe with my SoundCloud community.
So your Instagram, Twitter, TikTok is all Kosha Dillz.
TikTok's Kosha Dillz 826, my birthday. So
Awesome.
I'll be on TikTok rapping. So if you got beats or beat, like let me know and I'll duet you. That's my thing.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.